All right, let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. It is the official start of the Nintendo Direct. I've got my Super Mario shirt on, and I'm going to be live until Nintendo goes live to announce the Switch 2 in about 12 hours. I'm just kidding. It's Torn Tuesday. But Cliff's here to properly introduce the show.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. It is lovely to have you here, beautiful friends and companions on our journey across Middle-earth. This is another episode of the Miyazaki Minute. It's been expanded to be the Miyazaki Hour and a Half. So just for April 1st, we're just doing
The
it
number
this
one
way.
movie in America, Miyazaki.
Number one. No, wait, no, all jokes aside, absolutely stunning that a one-day theatrical reissue suddenly is extended by the North American distributor G-Kids, and Princess Mononoke on IMAX is the number one movie in the country after, what, 20, 30 years? I don't know how old I am.
I'm just ready for the Nintendo Switch. I got my Super Nintendo here.
Wild.
We're just all about Japan and Nintendo. Forget
Yes,
Middle-earth. We're a Nintendo channel now.
No, stop it. Okay. You know, I wonder how we're going to get through this show without all the jokes, but it is Torn Tuesday. This is your one-stop shop for all things Middle-earth. Here at theonering.net, the longest standing World Wide Web community of Tolkien fans, all volunteers forged by and for the fans of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. And we have very special guests here on our show today. We have ongoing chaos in our March Madness bracket. It's absolute wonderful chaos. I mean, the best kind of chaos. And we're going to have a great show. We have so many guests to bring on board. And yeah, Julia, thank you for the laugh. I needed that. The live chat is here. People are joining us from Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Discord, everyone, and Instagram. They're all here with us now. Welcome aboard, all you live people in the world. Yes. Hello, Nigel. It's good to see you too. Wow, this is actually happening. Okay, so on board, I mean on deck, we have with us, shall we introduce our denizens from theonering.net? On deck, we have Jim Wirt and the estimable Kirsten. This is Green Dragon. Wonderful folks who volunteer and do so many great things for the onering.net community behind the scenes. And they are the curators of this year's remarkable March Madness competition. And the bracket continues apace. Are we past the Sweet 16 or are we in there right now?
We are in Elite 8.
Welcome. Oh, the Elite 8. Good
The
Lord.
Elite 8 for about 4 more hours.
Yep, we're in Elite 8, and Elite 8 is almost over. So if you haven't voted in the Elite 8 round, you only have until midnight Eastern time tonight. So as Jim says, about 4 more hours to vote in the Elite 8. And we have a giveaway going along, thanks to our good friends at Warner Bros. For copies, hard copies. You can choose Blu-ray or 4K UHD of The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which is a pretty great piece of Tolkien art in its own right, talking of Tolkien inspiring artists. In order to try and win one of those, you have to predict who you think is going to be the grand champion of Middle-earth March Madness this year. And you have to predict it before midnight tonight, because once we narrow it down to 4, that's too easy. So if you predict, go to the homepage, look at the article there. You'll find a jot form link on the homepage. Go to the jot form, put in your prediction for the grand champion. If you're correct from all the correct ones, we'll pick some winners, and Warner Brothers will send you your choice of Blu-ray or UHD. But you've got to do it before midnight tonight. So that's what's happening with March Madness right now. And then we will be launching the final 4.
Indeed.
But before we do that...
Wow.
One of the remaining artists in our elegant, enticing,
engaging, elite,
engaging, yes, elusive,
estimable,
is none other Then a very good friend of the OneRing.net, Donato Giancola, who has very kindly agreed to be with us tonight.
Hi, Donato. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hey, thank you, Torn and Kirsten and Cliff and Justin and Jim for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah,
great stuff.
But I think I'm going down tonight. I'm up against one of the heaviest sluggers out there.
Oh my goodness!
Ouch. I mean, not ouch. It's a play. It's wonderful to go down to such a name.
Yeah, well, this is the problem when it narrows down, and I have to say that I think Alan Lee's Edoras could be going all the way to grand champion, but I do love your painting at this point as well. So it's a very, very hard choice. And Donato's piece that we selected, just a reminder that the 64 artists that we chose at random, just artists we had encountered, artists we knew well and loved, artists that we didn't know so well but had come across and admired their work. We picked those 64 artists, and we only picked one piece from each artist. So we're not voting on the whole oeuvre of an artist. We're just picking pieces. And it was really the idea, as many of you heard me say already, was to curate a kind of gallery of Middle-earth art. It wasn't really to pitch things against each other. The competition is just for fun. But at this point, Donato's beautiful Walls of Moria is up against a very difficult one. But let's have a look at the Walls of Moria, which is the beautiful painting.
Oh my goodness!
That
we chose.
How did we do, Donato, in picking a representative work of yours?
It was really the hardest part.
Like Kirsten just told, they did not. I don't know how did you all select this one piece out of all the ones?
We grabbed a lot of art from every one of those 64 artists, if they had a lot of art. Some only had a couple of pieces. You had a plethora of options, and then Kirsten and I looked at them and got some input. In your case, it was another staffer who said you've got to pick the Walls of Moria, but mostly we said, what would we want hanging on our wall? And so there's an example.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we were trying to pick favorites, whether they were our other staffers' favorites, and in your case, it was very hard to narrow it down. But for me, anything with Durin's Doors on it is a vote winner for me. I do love that, and then the scale of this piece appeals to me as well. And I think, Donato, that's one of the things that you do that is very, that feels very old world about your paintings, that you do things sometimes on a massive scale, and we don't always see that in modern artworks. What is it that appeals to you? Like in a painting like this, the Fellowship, yes, they're the central focus, but they're not the majority of the painting. Those walls are the dominant, overbearing thing in the painting. What made you choose the composition in that way?
Well, that's what I've tonight we've got. I brought in a bunch of the sketches and preliminaries that got me on this pathway for this painting. But that epicness is what you're after. Like lately, I've been doing these very large canvases, and mostly they're landscapes. So I really have enjoyed basically trying to make a Hudson River School body of work for Middle Earth, because it needs to be like when I walk into the Metropolitan Museum, I want to see a Middle Earth painting on sometime. Doesn't have to be mine, but I want to see somebody on the walls in these institutions that has Tolkien themed work. That would bring such joy. So that's a little bit why I'm chasing these big themes here.
How big is this piece?
How big is the original?
Oh, it's not gigantic. It's 4 feet by 4 feet. So like basically like a meter and a third by a meter and a third. So
that's still big.
Pretty good. Yeah.
What would your biggest piece be?
Well, the biggest is actually the Beacons of Gondor and that is done a couple years ago. That is 10 feet by approximately 7 feet. So fairly good. And I've done 3 or 4 of those canvases now on that scale and they're all Middle Earth works.
There's people in the chat room asking, have you thought about turning these images into jigsaw puzzles? They'd love to put it together.
You know what? That's a great idea, actually.
It is. Yeah,
This would be a hard puzzle. There's a lot
there's
of
a lot of
in this puzzle.
gray. Yeah, that's yeah. But yeah, if you want to roll, like we could. So basically, what motivated me, Kirsten, is like getting back is I've actually had this idea for doing the walls here or doing the doors of Durin, and for like a decade or more, but I didn't have the pieces, so to speak, to put it together. So in the back of my mind, in my sketchbook, it was always floating around there. And then about 10 years ago, my family, my kids and my wife and I took a canoeing trip down into the Big Bend canyons of Texas. And we went to the Santa Elena canyons on the Rio Grande. And I saw the walls of Moria there. So here, these are the rough sketches. I call them thumbnails, or no, abstracts is what I call them. People call them thumbnails. But this is the small sketching. And on the upper left, you can see I was looking at a horizontal format initially, kind of zooming in a little bit more. And then it just hit me that this needs to be about the trees as well, the living guardians, so to speak, of the doors. And so I backed out just a little bit, went a little more square, and that was it. That was the composition right there.
Indeed. From the chat, TD Matthews says, I feel like the scale of this piece captures the change between when the wall itself was a major entrance to its existence now, where we're finding the Fellowship finding it at the late end of the Third Age.
No, yeah, like it is. I think, yeah, the wall is a thing. I mean, I think Ted Nasmith did a couple, or one of a nice moment of them looking across the lake, the still waters at that wall. So that's another great moment for me, seeing how other artists have visualized this moment. Again, it's a place not many illustrators have tackled this little backed up moment. Usually everyone's zoomed in on the doors themselves. And I know, like, and again, I'm cheating here a little because I've got a little bit of Tolkien art in my painting, with Durin's door, the inscription there. So it's a little bit of a cheat to say that Tolkien is inside this painting as well.
And so, Donato, I'm really intrigued by what you were saying about that you didn't have the pieces to do it, that you're kind of saying that you needed to see, as I understand it, a real life wall that you felt was, that's what the walls would have looked like.
Yeah.
Is that often the case for you, that you want to, so like, for example, if you were going to try and draw Telperion and Laurelin, if you wanted to draw the two trees from the beginning of Arda, would you say, I've got to decide what real life tree I'm going to base each one on?
A little bit of that, yes. I'm not a hyper realist, but I'm a hardcore realist in that sense of getting models to pose, getting people to pose. So go back to that photograph. That was the Santa Elena Canyon there, right? And I think I've got another one to show. You can see the scale of the the vegetation.
Had you been here? Is this like
yes? We took a
physical memory that
no, these are photographs. Yeah, physical memory, presence, feeling that space. It was just, I mean, it's beautiful. If you ever get the chance to go there, it's quite an experience, because these are nearly 800-foot cliffs, and
is
the
this
river.
in Utah?
No,
Texas.
it's in Texas. A Big Bend. It's a Rio Grande. It's on the so actually one side is Mexico and the other side is Texas. So you can cross right over into Mexico here if you can scale one of those cliffs.
This is remarkable. I for some reason, the back of my mind, I was thinking in the Rings of Power, they showed us the doors of Durin, but by the end of the season, they were never installed. We never even got to see them in place. They never even bothered. I don't know. It was like, what? Where'd they go? But it's remarkable that Tolkien brings back the two trees as a consistent callback. I don't know if it's deliberate, but my imagination tends to think that it was. To have those two trees standing guard over the west gate of Moria is, that specific callback to the trees of Valinor, and I find it interesting because this is a dwarvish place. This is not a place of the Noldor. However, we are instantly called to remember the strength of their friendship and how much commerce, trade, cross-cultural influence they had with each other at that time when the doors were made. So let's speculate. Do you think those trees were planted by the elves?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in a way, it's you're saying it's a door. It's like the transition zone, right, between the realms. Right?
Yes.
So it does. Right, very symbolic. And actually, it wasn't just those two trees, though, right? So we got to recognize that there was supposed to be a lane of these trees, and there were stumps, right, that have been cut down. So symbolically, right? So symbolically, they represent the two trees and the friendship between elves and dwarves.
I do think that Karen Wynne Fonstad makes note of that in her close-up map of the entrance to the West Gate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think she does in the Atlas of Middle Earth. I'm speaking of. I'll have to double check. But
now, are you intentionally portraying holly trees here, like it has in the book? Was that your idea?
Yes, I did. I didn't know. Like, I've never seen a large holly tree. I don't know how big they can get. So I had to cheat a little, fake it. So actually, the Kirsten was that do I have to see things? Yes. And so actually, the final impetus to get to this painting occurred during COVID. My daughter loved to walk in Greenwood Cemetery, and so I went with her, and there are these incredible beech trees with these root systems, as you can see in this photograph. They're just, I mean, they're old trees, a couple 100 years old, and they're just crawling over everything and just wonderful. And they have this wonderful silvery bark. And so even though I don't know what I think a holly tree is probably a little darker bark, I just went with this silvery, because it's kind of matched the essence, kind of the silvery moonlight, the walls of Moria, so it just really fit thematically the concept, and that's it. So that sold me. So that was in fall of 2000 when this happened, and so the next spring was when I started on this painting.
So someone in the chat has asked, what medium do you work in?
I work with oil painting for the final. And if you want to go to those next couple slides, you can see I actually do drawings first.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah. So I establish and speaking of seeing things, these are all friends and models that I had. So I had 3 different people help me out. My assistant, Kelly, Grant is on the left. And in the middle there is Scott Murphy and the Grant again. So actually I had taken these photos about that 10 years ago time when I was thinking of this idea, but I had never executed it. So I actually had already done the model shoot, but didn't have the environment set in my mind to be able to solve those visual problems.
You just have this level of cosplay just sitting around?
Well, as a fan, yes, actually I do. As a fantasy, I have not plate mail. I've got a breastplate. I got chainmail. I've got a sword right behind the computer here. Yeah.
That's really similar to how the Hildebrandt brothers described their process. You're getting models and dressing them up with whatever was on at hand. Was that an inspiration for you at all?
Oh, no. Yeah, the professional practices that of other illustrators. That's certainly. Yeah, if you've seen my cover of The Lord of the Rings, you might recognize this sword.
Oh,
wow!
So this has appeared in many fantasy illustrations.
Oh, really? What a great reference! A great reference.
You just have that above your computer.
It is.
It's at the ready.
It's been there for 27 years. Yeah, it's been there forever. Yeah. What was let's see.
We were talking about the tools that you use.
Yes,
sketches.
It is.
So this sketch is this a miniature sketch, like 8.5 by 11, and
a little larger. It is. This is after I've gotten my references together. So this is approximately 22 inches wide.
And this is just colored pencil, or are we talking charcoals?
This is graphite with the chalk, not a chalk, a white chalk that I used. And I used toned paper. It's a toned gray paper. And that way I could actually, I didn't have to, I could do the doors of Durin in the glowing mithril. So that was perfect. So that's why I wanted to be able to use tone, so I could actually see the idea of illumination that can occur.
I'm certain. I'm certain it's not at all close to the technique of doing a woodcut. But gosh, I'm getting Gustave Doré vibes off of that sketch.
There's probably, imagine Doré Doré did drawings before he did the cuts. He had to. Like you can't. You have to plan before you step into something like that.
That's true. But I'm getting big Gustave Doré vibes. I love it. I love it. I love it.
He did. Doré did a lot of illustration as well. I have his Rime of the Ancient Mariner illustration.
Oh, that's incredible. That's stunning, right?
Superb. Yeah.
And that would be this kind of sketching, and as well. So.
Yeah, and so this is this is finally on the board, the 4 foot by 4 foot. I paint on top of a prepared panel board, so it's very smooth. I kind of hate the texture of canvas, so I can avoid it. So anything smaller, anything about this 4 feet wide and smaller goes onto panel, and then I only work on canvas on the super extremely large works.
So the final piece is on board for this particular thing. Yep. And is this just a graphite like number 2 pencil, or what are you working with here?
Yeah, this is involves a transfer. So I'm kind of enlarging my drawing, kind of printing it out, and then retracing it and redrawing it onto the board. And the next shot shows the first initial acrylic lay-in of that. So you can see kind of the rough.
So you're using acrylics before you jump into the oils on this?
Yes, it's less toxic for one thing. So when you cover that much surface area with oil, you're likely using a lot of turpentine, which can be a tremendous evaporative moment and very unhealthy unless you've got incredible, fans and air circulation. So I like to use acrylic because it's healthier, and then also it's fast drying, so I can quickly make modifications as I move through this very first phase of blocking in.
I love it. I love this. And it's fascinating to hear you say that you want to avoid canvas if you can. That's just fascinating.
Well, some of the greatest paintings that we think of, like the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa's on panel.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, the Birth of Venus, Botticelli, that's panel. Like the Garden of Earthly Delights, Hieronymus Bosch.
Yes,
Hieronymus Bosch is on panel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they hated actually, they just didn't they didn't want to work on canvas either.
And then there was all those bloody church ceilings that Michelangelo was painting on, but that's another story.
That's a whole other collection.
I was gonna say they weren't canvas.
No, they weren't. No, that's and you could go to the next one. Yeah, go ahead, Kirsten. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead with the
next and then image. It's just I call it paint by number, because once I've got my drawing down, then I can block in and nail the figures. And I think just the next one is probably the finish. I didn't take many photos of the process shots. I'm not a modern day self-promoter that way. So when I get into the zone of painting, it's a meditative thing, and I just like being there, and I don't want to have to photograph myself.
That's understandable.
That's an interesting thing, because we see a lot of artists, especially on on social media. They have to promote themselves as much as the artwork. So you see a lot of people taking photos with their paintings as soon as they're done. Do you have a photographer that helps you with this, or did you learn how to take good photos of your paintings? Because it can be tricky with oils and a glaze over it.
Photographing after the fact is very easy. I actually have right on behind me this black space. Actually, there's another Middle Earth painting that I haven't even shared yet. It's Frodo and Sam and Mori just after they had left Kirthungol. So that's.
Are you saying this is a Torn exclusive?
Yeah, actually, well, it's a commission, so it's let's see if you want me to, let me take off my headphones, so I'll go grab it.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, what a special treat.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yes,
Yes,
you do.
please.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Oh wow.
Oh,
Look at the
Sorry,
glaze on it
guys.
already.
Not gonna be able to see great, a lot of glare.
Oh, it's
I
beautiful.
mean, you'll see it on my social media later this week. But
Okay.
we got,
Wow.
But you saw it here
yeah, you
first.
saw it
Remarkable.
here.
You guys talked about Hieronymus Bosch. I mean, this is kind of dark and red and burgundy going on.
Yeah, it is. It's the it's supposed to be nighttime, so I had to fake again, kind of fudge it a little because I'm doing a Sam and Frodo after they've jumped over the edge of the. Here we go. So there's Kirthungol's in the background here. We got the Nazgul perched, the black shape, and we got the thorns and so
I love the detail.
Yeah. So I was literally just photographing it earlier today. So that's that'll be out. So you guys get to see it here first.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think you're going to have a happy client.
Yes, it was a friend. He's a painter, so he commissioned it. So I had to make it extra special.
Yeah,
I knew it was going into a painter's home.
The live chat is blowing up.
Wow.
They're going, oh wow, super cool, hauntingly beautiful, gorgeous. The chat is blowing up. Oh my gosh.
Maybe I can have a chance against Alan Lee if I put that one up. Can I switch him out?
Yeah, let's switch it.
It's like I'm getting a designated hitter. I gotta play the game. Like I got a replacement. I gotta pull all my levers to get at Alan Lee here.
I have to say, Donato, your enthusiasm for our March Madness has been a delight. I am so grateful that you've been enthusiastic from the day that I said to you, hey, we're doing this thing, this March Madness. Are you cool with being part of it? I love that you've been so enthusiastic.
Well, thank you. And also want to call out, there's, I didn't get to mention, there's like two artists on the other side who are new names to me. Turner Mohan, who did the Luthien and Morgoth piece. I mean, beautiful, really killer. And then there's the Little Rivers of the Shire by Sony Alcorn. Was it Pendor? Yeah, really beautiful. I mean, like new people, names I've never heard of before, but they're creating wonderful Tolkien art. It's really. I mean, thank you for bringing those to us, you guys. Bringing new names into the fold here of Tolkien illustrators.
I'm curious. Real quick on you mentioned the Baron and Luthien sketch. As an artist, what makes you attracted to this? Why did you call this out?
Oh, I mean, it just nails the mood, the moment, the conflict. I mean, light and dark, small, large. Also the surreal nature of Morgoth, that crown. Look at that crown. It's like no one could ever wear that because you'd hit your head everywhere. But it's that's not the point of art. Point of art is not to be realistic. It's to convey emotion and story. And this piece, I mean, the mistiness of it, the glow of Luthien, so eloquently realized there. I mean, it's black and white, and it's got like killer power, right? It's just gorgeous. It's really a very nice piece.
Indeed. I'm told by my real estate agent that they have very high ceilings in Angband. So it might be all right. Might be all right.
He's got to have a little space carved down the halls with his extra.
You got to stick to the main halls, though.
He did say it was hard to stage the place and get it on the market. It was hard to stage, but yeah, I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm sorry. The jokes just are really bad today.
Okay,
they're very bad today.
I want to ask Donato. You're just saying it's great. The different Tolkien artists that we're exploring, and people in the chat are saying, "I love all the different artists that we're seeing." What is it about Tolkien? So two things. First, which came first for you, your love of art or your love of Tolkien, or did they develop around the same time? And what is it about Tolkien's work that particularly keeps bringing you back to create more pieces inspired by moments in his writing?
Well, I mean, I've been an artist since I was probably born. I mean, I've got drawings from my first grade classes. So I did not discover Tolkien until my brother handed me The Hobbit to read when I was about 13. And literally, I remember he actually handed it to me on a Friday, and I didn't put it down till I was finished with it Sunday afternoon. I just consumed it. And he handed it to me because I was playing Dungeons and Dragons at the time. And here, obviously, was the beginning, right, the source material, the foundations of part of Dungeons and Dragons. So that's why I go back to it again and again, because it resonates. It is intertwined with me, as a gamer, as a storyteller. Even before I knew of myself as a professional artist, I was making Tolkien art as a fan. So, and I go back to it now, partly, and because when you read, what I love about Tolkien is also he emotionally describes moments, but he does not physically describe them visually. So as an artist, you get the chance to interpret what color hair is Legolas, right?
Yeah, in this very piece, yeah.
Right? Like does Frodo, the description of Frodo is he has a cleft chin. And I think that's it. Hobbits like to wear bright colors.
Yeah.
That's it. They've got hairy feet, right? They're about 3 foot, tall. Like there's so little physical description of any, except for Gandalf. He's actually got called out with a few things, but there's everything else. Even the kind of trees in Lothlorien, the Malorian trees are like, what shape are their leaves? What color? Like golden, right? But that the specifics of silvery bark, but that's like how you want to interpret that is very open, right? Yeah. So that's why I keep going back.
Initially, you studied engineering. Does any of that engineering stuff get retained in your process or in any of your work? Or is that something that you're moving away from? Or
it's not so much that there's engineering, but it's the science of, actually, like what you're saying, like I've got to see it first. I've got to understand it. And that's everything. Like even like I forgot to pull up like photographs for this Walls of Moria. I had swampy land, like swamps. The photographs that I've taken over the years, reeds, like looking at what stumps would look like, rotten stumps. There's a little hint of a rotten stump in the foreground in there. So there's tiny little facts that I feel I need to have evidence for, almost like archaeological evidence. Like I'm constantly, and every painting I do this, like this painting I just showed you with. Like the thorn trees, the bridge, the mountains, everything has a reference. So that's my scientific engineering mind, I guess, there.
Yeah. Fun.
Tolkien infamously never visited the United States of America. And I always thought that was, he missed out on just the natural wonders that this country offers. And would you say a lot of your landscapes and inspiration are from American wilderness and nature and those rock walls? Because we know John Howe said that South America, Patagonia is really inspirational for him for most of his landscapes. But for your landscapes of Middle Earth, do you take inspiration from America mostly?
Well, yeah, partly because that's where I live here and where I've traveled for the most part, but actually the Beacons of Gondor that I just mentioned, that's Iceland. So we had vacation there 3 years ago,
Right.
And that's like that is exactly why that painting exists, is because I wanted to paint Iceland. And I go,
So your vacations are tax write-offs for your job.
100%,
Absolutely.
100. Like everywhere I go, I'm vacation. Like, yeah. So the Descent from Caradros, which is one of my very, kind of like 10 years ago, very large, another one of these large epic canvases. That is from a visit to Utah, going up into the mountains outside of Provo, Utah, and using the photographs that I took there. And meshing that with the Alps, actually. So, Tolkien, I think Tolkien actually was Rivendell, right? Was inspired
Switzerland.
by, right? Switzerland.
Lautenbrunnen
Right?
in Switzerland.
And even, right? So there's, like, I think he didn't need to come to the States in a way. I mean, Europe is pretty bountiful with amazing landscaping, right? I wouldn't, actually, most any place, depending, you can find beauty if you just pause and look for it anywhere. So I don't think you can just travel in your backyard, in your neighborhood, and you can likely be motivated to find beauty and sublime experiences inside nature almost anywhere you travel.
I was just gonna offer, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, I love that you can find beauty anywhere you look for it. I just pause and look for it. I love that. If I take nothing else away from tonight, I love that.
No, I really believe that. I live in New York City. I mean, look, I found the holly trees for the doors here in the cemetery in Brooklyn. One of the biggest cities in America, and they're here. So it's just, you just got to open your eyes and look, and you will find it, right? You just got to look.
Do you have Rubber Toe in the chat room was just talking about how The Hobbit is their favorite Tolkien books. Do you have any tips for young artists of like trying to capture the feeling of strong juxtaposition between the warmth and coziness along with the adventure and excitement? Those are two separate things.
Yeah, they are. Like it's almost. Yeah, that's very. You can actually do it, but it's your warm and coziness might be a small little, not an art, but call them inclusions. That's like one of the hobbits might be holding, or Bilbo might be holding on his adventure. The pipe, right? That's probably why he brings along the pipe, because that's a comfort of home. So if you can weave those into those little, like, little inclusions into moments, like something on their body, an earring or some kind of ornamentation, or an object like something that you would keep from home, a handkerchief or something, that showing that figure, showing a figure engaged with that is a way to create contrast with a surrounding chaotic environment, maybe, if that's what you're seeking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is true that Tolkien, unlike Oscar Wilde, Tolkien never came to do an American tour and didn't see our geography. But I do remember in my research that when Forrest Ackerman had approached Professor Tolkien with the possibility of a motion picture screenplay in the late 60s, he brought to England with him, along with the spec script and a proposal, he brought lots and lots of photographs of Southern California and the sequoias, the desert plateaus, and some of the high Sierras to show Tolkien some of the possible environments that are available here in the American West for filming. Of course, that project never came to fruition at all because the script was awful. It was really a whole mess. But I'm inspired by traveling, and Justin just a little while ago said that was it Alan Lee who said that he loved Patagonia, right?
John Howe. John Howe. Yeah.
Patagonia looks like you're on a foreign planet, on a completely alien world. It's insane. Have you found it easier to illustrate and conceptualize some of your artwork where Professor Tolkien is more generous in describing the environment and the traveling spaces where people are traveling, versus something like the Silmarillion, where sometimes he's just talking about abstract spirits or concepts of deities instead of like a travel journey where he's not really describing the environment. Do you find it easier for your work when Tolkien delivers more language to describe what's all physically around the characters?
Boy, I don't. I find that he actually doesn't. Even in the Silmarillion, he's pretty. I mean, Lord of the Rings, and he's definitely more broader in the Silmarillion, right? But even in the Lord of the Rings, he doesn't get overly specific. So there's tremendous, latitude.
There's one spot in when Sam and Frodo and Gollum are going through Ithilien, and Tolkien is such a botanist gardening freak that he goes absolutely wild in describing all of these flowers and bushes and herbs, and you can not only see it but almost smell it. I don't know if that's ever been I got to paint that or
no. That's Ted Nasmith did an incredible Ithilien painting. So that's his. Like that's yours. Like I'm not gonna go there. That's an example. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Jim. That is an example where he did get, but that's almost a precursor to the setup that he did with the stewed rabbits, right? That. You're talking about that how to convey intimacy, right?
Yes.
Like pausing to cook a meal, home cooked meal, right? With the pots and pans you've been carrying for like 1,000 miles. That is the power of Tolkien. He takes he brings you down, slows down, and stews a rabbit with you, right? That, right? And so I think Ithilien, the descriptor of the Ithilien was a little bit of that setup to really nail a very specific moment. And then we're off, right? And then we're off again.
Yeah, to the plains of Gorgoroth. Yeah.
Donato, that actually, that what you just said about like drawing down onto a specific moment was another question I wanted to ask you, because I know from previous chat with you and from seeing your works that you love painting hands and you love art that focuses on hands. And so you have some pieces that are these epic scale landscapes. And then you have pieces where you really drill down and we only maybe see someone's hands or a little part of them, So it's kind of what you were just saying about Tolkien with epic landscape and a very specific moment. When you're picking, when you have a moment that you want to convey, whether it's Tolkien or whatever else it might be, is it just instinct that tells you whether that's a moment that you want to be huge epic or a moment that you want to be minutely intimate? What sways that for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is a bit of intuition, and it also is, have I done a hand painting lately? It's like, do I feel like turning this project into a hand painting? And that's a little bit of it, because I love the conveyance of the intimate moment, right, with hands. Also the expression, the hands are like portraits. They really reveal a tremendous amount about a person. Rings, ornamentation, tattooing, clothing, little cuffs, like what they're holding. I mean, it's the gesture itself. So they're very powerful as representations of humanity. So and I do let intuition, but mostly, to be honest, like commercial work, like doing book covers, they don't want hands. They want portraits, faces, people, and hands have been something I've done for like Magic the Gathering, or for my own personal love of just running with that theme, because I just love the idea of the portraiture. So thank you, Kirsten. I'm glad you like those.
Yeah, I've got to say, I would accept a Donato hand painting any day.
I'll take a finger.
Take a finger. All right.
Just a finger with a ring.
That's it.
Still around it.
Yeah. All right.
No.
Jim is the
That's right.
Gollum of Torn Star.
Just
I'll have to do Frodo's finger as Gollum's like got it. All right.
Lots of Magic the Gathering fans in the chat room. They've been talking about your artwork that you've done for Magic.
Oh, right.
Working at that small scale, we've been talking about 4-foot canvases and even that one you showed. how do you approach artwork at the scale of a
playing
little
card.
Well,
magic
I mean,
card?
That was going to be my next question. Actually, yeah.
It doesn't vary. Those little abstract thumbnails that you saw, it's the exact same process. The acquisition of reference materials, exactly the same. I go through the same level, the hurdles for every commission, whether it's one of those epic, massive wall pieces down to a small Magic the Gathering painting, which might be, 10 inches by 12 inches. It's the same process.
Do you work with a different type of contrast or a different color approach when you know that it's going to be reduced down to a card?
Yeah, certainly. Like the cards are definitely designed to be more graphic, and then I have, dealing with a large piece like the painting I just showed you would not work well as a card. It's a little dark. It doesn't have a lot of contrasting moments where reproduction goes a little dark, then it still holds together. This one, that painting would fall apart. So again, that's why it's a painting for a friend, not a card art for reproduction. So I am sensitive to the color issues, contrast issues, and design when I'm doing smaller pieces.
I imagine that the demands must be different. Yeah. In the chat, Rubbertoe says, by the way, Donato, your full artwork for the overgrown farmland is up there with one of my all-time favorite Magic the Gathering artworks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rubbertoe. Thanks.
There's a good question in the chat that I think leads us to. I'm aware that
I've already gone too long. I told you I could talk a lot.
Oh my gosh!
No, not at all. We love hearing you, but as we're sort of drawing towards a conclusion, TD Matthew in the chat was asking, I wonder how artists react when they encounter another artist's interpretation of perhaps the same scene that is markedly different than their own. Is the reaction, well, that's not right, or is it, ooh, that's a cool take? So this leads us back to our Middle-earth March Madness, where you have been looking at art of other artists, and I know you've been taking part and voting in the rounds. So generally speaking, for you, is there do you ever look at another Tolkien artist's interpretation and think that's not right, or do you always think,
it's a mix of both? I think because it's you got to have we read the books that we internalize. At least I guess those of us who read the books first before seeing the movies, right? We've internalized these ideas of space, character. So to see someone else interpret that is like, oh, is that a match? But it's always a pleasure to see a different. Like I just put together a visual lecture earlier or last year about the kind of the evolution of Tolkien art since from the beginning of Tolkien into the 50s and 60s, and it was I think even in your madness, you've got one of those. It's I think Roichi Terashima, like a incredible Gollum piece from the 60s. That's like, oh, that's awesome.
Or the Toby Johnson is similar. Yeah.
I love it. Because that's the power of literature, is that it doesn't have to be laid out for you. You bring, it's a meeting ground. You bring something to the experience, right? And if it was all rigid and set like a movie, then there's no room for you to grow as a person, to grow, interpret, to project yourself into those. I mean, we are all Frodo, right? We are all Sam, right? We all want to be, helpers, heroes, comrades. And if you don't allow that kind of accessibility, I think you kill your literature, you could kill your story. So I'm a firm believer in, being acceptance of that, like recognizing the power of that.
There's a
important.
related question from the fans. I wonder if there's an expectation among Tolkien artists to put their own spin on Tolkien's ideas, or is improvisation forbidden?
Oh, no, it's not forbidden. I mean, look, I'm talking to you here, right? 40 years ago, I was hanging, or not quite 40, but Alan Lee calendars, Ted Nasmith calendars, John Howe calendars on my wall as a fanboy looking at Tolkien art. And I would never have dreamed that I could be here talking to you, going head to head with Alan Lee and slugging it out as a a peer, a professional peer.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you've got to have room to accept. You've got to be room to grow. And yeah, that's just good.
Do you think that there's an unfair public perception, or maybe it's fair, I don't know, that painting and art, artists like yourself get a more freedom of exploration versus the adaptations of TV and film? You know, because you always hear about this, canon and lore and, accuracy. Why do you think that there's a difference there?
Well, I mean, movies are very impactful, right? They're visually, they're emotionally. I mean, you're engaged very socially usually when you see them. So there's a different consumptive nature to that experience, which probably binds and emotionally, like, really strengthens that experience as formative about what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. So it's not a fault, but it is, like recognizing that there is more to add to the story. I think that's just comes with, not with it. Yeah. I think I've said my piece.
I can't believe Kirsten's not talking about opera at this point, because what opera used to be. Is there something, you got anything that's percolating that you are just dying to create that you haven't gone to yet?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, not now.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, now it's just like, I just want to get stuff out of me before I die. I just want to, that's why I'm making more paintings. It's like, I'm almost getting close to 60, and it's like, okay, like, I got to keep going here. No, I've got my Tolkien work under my belt. I'm doing my robots, doing my astronauts. Got my science fiction fantasy going. Like, I don't have any complaints. No.
And it's voting day, and you're encouraging people to vote for you.
No, I am not.
Middle Earth March Madness.
I am. One last big question that's on my mind, Donato. Is there something, a character or a tableau or something specific from Tolkien that you have not yet tackled? And you would like to? Something you'd really like to take on?
No, I've really shied away from I think the Silmarillion quite a bit. In part, like, I think, Ted Nasmith's just like killing it really well with a lot of his recent stuff. So I think once I deplete, in a way, like what I'm doing now with Lord of the Rings is I'm actually trying to make those paintings that other people haven't done, like this one of Frodo and Sam. No one's done that moment when they're in the thorns. So it's like, I can own that, right? I can own that moment. So once I think I've depleted that, then I can go into the Silmarillion and start to do those. There's less of those intimate narratives because he was writing more mythologically back then. So I mean, like what I'm talking about, I love intimate moments. I love personal intimate moments, and those are in abundance, right? In the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. So I think that's why I've been playing in that ground so much. Yeah.
I personally would throw my hat in the ring for your representation of the hidden city of Gondolin. I would love to see your take on that.
Oh no, I've done one. I've got it already. Like it's one of those. It's one of those big ones. It's one of those giant canvases.
Then I'm happy. I'm a happy man. I can die happy then.
Sorry. Okay. Now another one, Cliff. I've already done. Okay, done. Done. Okay, give me. No, actually, I've got to do the death of Baelig. So like that's got to be.
Yeah, that was actually in the contest, another interpretation of it.
No, that one's been on my mind for 15 some odd years. So that's got to be.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, we had a very moving death of Baelig sketch in March Madness.
But it got knocked out, huh?
Yeah, it did early on.
Yeah.
Unfairly, I think.
Second choice would be the burning of the ships at Alqualande.
Oh my! Again, Ted Nasmith. Ted's done.
Yeah.
You've done it. Well,
You're
the Simpsons already did it.
Point, Cliff. Cliff, you're just proving my point. Like why I don't go there.
I'm sorry.
And Ted is still in. He's
Yep.
in our Elite Eight. Ted, I have to put in a word for him here. He's Naismith,
yeah.
Ted Naismith, and I saw some people in the chat going, I don't know how to say his name, so we confirmed
Naismith,
it with him
yeah.
on Sunday when he was on our show that Naismith. But anyway, his kinslaying of Alqualonde is still in at the moment.
Oh my goodness.
He's going up against the Horn. He's actually got one of my friends, Matthew
to.
Stewart, right? The Horn of Boromir. Right?
That's right.
Oh wow.
That's right. And I know that a lot of people have been voting for the Horn of Boromir because that is a scene that people love.
No, both of them are like, I can't, like, how can you pick? Like, right? It's like, how can you pick?
I know.
Look at
Right.
like,
it's like,
oh my goodness.
Look at those two amazing pieces and then choosing between your amazing Walls of Moria and Alan Lee's Edoras. I mean, it's tough.
Look, if it's any encouragement, you have been closing the gap a little bit.
Tiny. No, come on.
I
a
also
little.
want to say
I'm already, it's like he's won. It's like the percentage of votes. It's already too great.
That's right.
I mean, Ted's representation of the kinslaying is dramatic and beautiful, but those boats are not on fire.
No, I think he's done a fiery boat scene though too.
Okay,
I think I've seen him do the fiery boat scene already. So I might be wrong, but okay. You know.
Well, interestingly, he showed us on Sunday when we had a live stream with him. He shared with us a few early sketches for this very painting. And in one of, I think it was the very first sketch that he'd done,
we're on fire.
The boats were on fire. And then he changed it and moved that around.
I might be wrong.
But there was,
maybe he hasn't
done.
Okay.
You have to get to the other side of the Sundering Sea to set the boats on fire. So
yes, right.
If I may, if this is a last minute vote for your heart, let me just say that Donato's work here on the left up against Alan Lee, Donato put characters and humans and Bill the Pony is in there. You've got actual humans. Yeah. Alan Lee, he's just doing landscapes. So those are all like mountain. Like there's no humanity in that.
Look at there's no emotion in the look. I mean, I'm sorry, I would have to vote for Alan Lee's piece. It's like, oh my, I mean, it's just gorgeous. But if you could at least if you could see the originals, like mine would dwarf. Like I know his work is very small. So you'd be like his tiny little thing on the wall, and then I'd have this giant landscape thing. So I could,
a lot more material went in, a lot more oil and chemicals went into the big. I mean, just look at the detail in this piece. I mean, you can get really close to this, and it just pops. Whereas
this is what I love. Like
just, you can't see any detail like this.
Yeah. So this is like the moments. Like I love. Like Frodo is like pointing out, right, talking. You know, like oh, what does this say? Like that's the kind of intimate like moments that I love out of. And again, Tolkien's describing them, but he's not. You know, he's emotionally describing them. He's not telling you how they stand. So I think I even have Frodo. You can't quite see. He's like standing on a little extra block of stone. So it raises him up just a little extra high.
Well, I love how you've painted Gimli with a kind of reverence here at the door of his people. So yeah. So that's what I love. So thank you. Yeah. Oh, is there anything?
Well.
Thank you all.
Donato, thank you so much for being with us. Oh, and we want to remind everyone that if you haven't voted, you do still have a few hours. You now have 3 hours left to vote in this round. So tell all your friends to push Donato's over the edge to victory. But it's so nice of you to share this time with us today, and so nice of you to be so enthusiastic and enter into the spirit of our March Madness this year, and be such a good sport about it.
A pleasure.
So really
thank you all again.
Thanks.
It's been an honor, and again a great privilege to be able to paint for Tolkien and share it with such a wonderful, loving audience. So thank you all again.
You are so generous with your time. Thank you so much for being with us. Donato.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I've got to stick it in to hang around to see the news that we got coming up. You can cut me off. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna peace out because I actually have to go, and I know that Cliff and Justin have you in capable hands, everybody, with whatever else they're going to share with you tonight. So I'm going to say thank you very much for letting me muscle in on Torn Tuesday tonight, gents. And
I
see
will
you
Thank you
follow
next
so
you
time.
up as well. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Fabulous. Well, here we are with 1 hour in, and we still have a little bit of a show to run, and we have news, and well, not all the news that's fit to print. We've had some outrageous responses for our April
I'm
Fool's
curious,
prank.
but
Our big April Fool's
before we
prank
get
went
into the
over.
news,
Oh my gosh.
Donato, do you want to be part of the conversation? You want to hang out backstage?
Well, no, I didn't. I was going to hang out backstage. I didn't need to talk about.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
I'll leave
Hang
you
out.
here.
We'll have you here. Well, it is so cool to have Donato Giancola with us on the show, and Jim and Kirsten, outstanding as always. I am kind of blown away at all the effort they put into organizing March Madness this year.
All the artwork.
Blown
the
away.
artwork is incredible. And Cliff,
Wow.
I reiterate this every show. We wanted to do this feature artwork of because what's hot topic right now, AI, and one of the most viral AI things of the last week was the Lord of the Rings Ghibli style. And so I want to get your opinion on that. Cliff, you are Mr. Miyazaki. You love Studio Ghibli. It was the Lord of the Rings Ghibli thing the greatest thing you've ever seen?
Well, it was an oddment. It was a curiosity, and maybe we could put it over there now that we're done with it in the curiosity cabinet. Let's just put it in the cabinet and forget about it. Okay, I am not a fan any more than Hayao Miyazaki-san himself is a fan of this type of technology that, and you know where I'm gonna land on this, Justin. You don't have to ask me, but the man has spent his entire life doing the most laborious work by hand with the most incredible teams. He has collected and collaborated with the most incredible teams of animators who have worked so hard with painstaking, back-breaking detail. We're talking genuine blood and sweat and tears, which are not required to type in a few prompts into the Ghibli AI reformat machine. The point of Miyazaki's artwork has always been about how hard work pays off in your life, how hard work in the realm of personal ambitions, your own artistry, your own approach to self-discipline, which every artist has to apply to get things done. But it's just, I know a lot of people were like, wow, this is so cool. I can put in a prompt and I can make some stupid old meme of the guy who's looking back at the other girl, and I could do that as a Ghibli format now. I mean, it to me, it is tantamount to losing the plot, completely losing the essence of what Miyazaki's and his studio's overall ethos has been all these decades. It is completely counterintuitive to that ethos of bringing the self, the natural essence of yourself that you can only discover by applying yourself. Has anybody here watched Kiki's Delivery Service? Has anybody here watched his recent Oscar-winning masterpiece, The Boy and the Heron? The thematic content of these stories is about how much you put yourself into something and finding out your worth, your own worth, measured through what you've created around you. and how comfortable you become with that organic relationship between yourself, your self-expression, and the discipline that got you there. And all of that is out the window when you're just typing in a prompt and asking it.
So
And this,
you don't like this? You don't like this?
you know what? I'm waiting for the lawsuits. I'm waiting. And
Why?
I'm waiting for the
Why don't you
lawsuit.
why don't you like this? Because
I
I
just
don't.
explained that. I just spent 3 or 7 minutes explaining why I don't.
The,
It is
the
antithetical. It is antithetical to the incredibly painstaking, organic ethos of his studio and his compatriots, including Isao Takahata. May he rest in peace. It's like, this is like candy floss. It's like a little confection. Oh, it's a nice having a little colorful icing on the cake, but you didn't even bother to bake the cake anyways. It's just icing. Ugh. Come on. You know? But hey, it's interesting from another regard, from the aspect of how many people were so turned on by this idea and were so into it that it became the biggest viral sensation of the past few days. That, oh, there's a thing called Jib, and you can put in, a picture, a source photo, or a descriptors, and you can get a stylized Studio Ghibli essence without having to bother to put in the backbreaking work to do it. Look at some of the comments in our live chat. Are you kidding me? I mean, wow. Yes, that's right, Paul. AI stands for awful imitation.
Well, Cliff, you
It
haven't
scratches an
mentioned
itch,
that.
though. Within the whole fandom, the presence of this thing certainly does scratch an itch.
I
I'll
think
admit
you need
that.
to write a
I'll
long
admit
form
that.
article about this Ghibli trailer, because Cliff, we already have Lord of the Rings in Studio Ghibli style, don't we?
No. That, well, okay. You
Come
actually
on, come on.
you do have Rankin and Bass, who produced The Return of the King and The Hobbit back in the 70s.
But this was animated by
Animated by
Miyazaki-san.
Topcraft. But it was animated by a bunch of folks who ended up migrating over, leaving one production at Topcraft and going over to the new studio that Takahata and Miyazaki-san were just opening up. They were just getting their feet
So the
on
animators
the
that
ground.
made this classic animated film are the
Hobbit.
same ones that are being ripped off here. Is that true?
They are a generation of animators who went over to work for Miyazaki's new studio when he needed to hire new people, and that's because they had done. These are the same team who did a lot of animated stuff with Rankin and Bass, including what was that? There was another animated film they did. Oh, that's it, The Last Unicorn, adapted from the famous novel by Peter S. Beagle. Yeah, they did that too. Same team of animators, which coincidentally starred Sir Christopher Lee in The Last Unicorn. So yeah, they're responsible for all of that. But Topcraft and those animators, they were just, when it came to Ghibli starting up with their new studio, that was the next gig in town. And like any team of animators, they end up going where the jobs are. And that's where the jobs were at the time. Yes, of course, a good mention for The Last Unicorn. And I love the animation style. I've loved everything that
So why?
studio.
So if you like the animation style, why not appreciate this?
Because AI is stealing artists' artwork without compensation, because of the ethics. There's a problem, as there always has been, and you know the answer before you ask me the question, Justin. There's a really big ethics problem with them, scraping data and scanning in artwork
I hate
from
to tell
other
you,
artists.
I hate
and using it for some other person to say, oh, look, I'm going to monetize this app now. And, you can get your Ghibli style work without having to put in the effort.
I hate to tell you this about Hollywood, Cliff, but the reason movie making moved to Hollywood, to Los Angeles, is to get away from the copyrights, trademarks, and patents of the New York film and stage companies. And all these filmmakers moved to LA and started making motion pictures.
The motion pictures were made here because they had 10 months of sunshine.
The photographic process.
There was not a labor dispute with the New York creators and producers. They moved here to LA because there was fair weather, beautiful, clement weather, and sunshine for 10 months out of the year. And they could get more productions done at less cost without losing because of weather. That's one of the main reasons why they moved out here.
All right.
And,
well, we've got
Okay.
All right.
What about you? Let me turn the tables to you, good sir. How do you feel about the jib input? Let me input some stupid meme and turn it into, oh, look, there's that tired picture of Ben Affleck. And he's sitting there going, looking exhausted. But now we've taken a famous meme and just turned it into a Ghibli style thing. This is just cosmetic. It's cosmetic.
Exactly. It's just cosmetic and it's just having fun. No artist lost any money making this Lord of the Rings trailer because no one is making a Lord of the Rings movie. No one can make a Lord of the Rings movie. Middle Earth Enterprises owns the rights. The Tolkien family controls the story, and Warner Brothers controls distribution. Without all three of those people playing ball, nobody's making an anime with Ghibli. Why can't people have fun?
Oh, yeah, okay. Why can't people have fun? Why can't people get the point? Okay?
But why can't people have fun? I thought this was fun. And the fact and let me just say this. The Ghibli thing blew up the internet. Like you said,
it did.
Everybody was memeing things. Even the White House was posting memes in very poor taste.
Oh, and using horror, absolute horrible taste.
Everybody and their mother was creating Ghibli memes. But the one thing that went more viral than all others was Lord of the Rings. And to that point, I would say I'm happy to see that Lord of the Rings is still the dominant worldwide pop culture phenomenon, because when whether it was Star Wars, whether it was politics, whether it was memes, whether it was Ben Affleck, it doesn't matter. When it came to the true essence of creativity and emotion, this Lord of the Rings stuff outperformed everybody else, and this Lord of the Rings thing is spurring is leading the conversation around this. So
true. Fair enough.
Congrats to Lord of the Rings for still being the most popular thing on the planet.
Yep. Agreed. It tells us that. It tells us that the barometric pressure in the room is that everybody has been wanting and desiring a Studio Ghibli approach to J.R.R. Tolkien, and everybody has wanted it for a very, very, very long time. But the existence of that little chat GPT or that Jib little app that you can use to put in your interface with it and put in your prompts, that is so antithetical to everything that Miyazaki has spent his life working towards. And he's been on record, and it also went viral. His response from, I think, 2012, when some software developer came to his studio offices and said, here's a cool way to have machine learning generate zombies or weird creatures from the demonic realm that, maybe they could be, kaiju or some weird creatures. But look, you can use AI and it will make things that animators can't really think of. And he said, I find this an insult to life itself. And that should tell you a lot more than me blathering for 10 minutes about why this is antithetical to what Miyazaki spent his life doing.
I think that of everything that we've seen about AI over the last few years, Miyazaki himself might have the strongest position to take down AI companies in lawsuits.
Perhaps. You know what? There was a fake letter. There was a fake legal threat
Made
letter
with AI.
that ended up not being real, that was never issued by the studio. And the Hollywood Reporter did a big story about that, telling us that, well, Studio Ghibli is in a little bit of a precarious position now. What's their next move going to be?
By the way, folks, if you're just joining us, we wrapped up a wonderful conversation with Donato Giancola. Middle Earth March Madness goes on for another 3 hours for the round 8, and I am carefully watching Cinemacom. It's happening right now. The Warner Brothers Studio panel is happening right now in Las Vegas at Cinemacom.
In Vegas.
Cliff was there when they debuted the 3D footage from The Hobbit.
HFR, the high frame rate of The Hobbit,
So,
in 48 frames per second. I was one of the first fans of the public to be able to see it when that happened. Wow. I wonder what they're revealing today. Oh, I bet you they're bringing James Gunn out on stage to talk about Superman. Probably.
Breaking news, Nicholas Hoult, who played J.R.R. Tolkien in the movie Tolkien, he is currently on stage as we speak right now. Because he is in the new Superman movie as Lex Luthor.
Yep,
yes,
he's our
the
new
guy
Lex
that
Luthor.
played Tolkien is now playing Lex Luthor.
He's got range. He has wonderful range.
I am expecting
I love that man.
Something with Lord of the Rings. I'm expecting something with Lord of the Rings. We're going to stay live until this panel ends because I want to know. We want to break it to you, and I want to be live with you, Cliff, if we get Lord of the Rings news. In the meantime, there was news today, Cliff. Speaking of AI, let me bring this up on screen. Breaking news here.
Hilarious. Everybody saw right through it right away.
Real excited. Middle Earth Enterprises reveals new AI project to expand Tolkien's legacy. Happy to announce that this ambitious endeavor combines classic literature with modern technology. AI experts spent 2 years assembling a comprehensive library of source materials. The data set encompasses The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, The Silmarillion, as well as early drafts, marginalia, personal letters, lecture notes, and lesser-known writings. Unreleased texts, once locked away in private collections, were added alongside appendices, charts, and decades worth of fan analysis. By drawing on this extensive treasury, the developers aim to ensure that Silmarillion, I think this is a temp title, faithfully mirrors the depth and tone of Tolkien's original vision of crafting new passages.
And I love that Zap Vera Sepa just said in the chat, I think AI was invented by Morgoth. You're a winner. That's a great quote. Can I quote you on that? Man, that's great.
Quote from the press release: Bridging the Ages initiative involves creating light touch revisions to Tolkien's original texts, expanding their genealogies, clarifying linguistic nuances, and elaborating on references Tolkien intentionally left vague. The team insists that all of this respects Tolkien's style while carefully modernizing certain language choices. In a letter, in an excerpt from this new AI program, there's a passage here. In a letter addressed to Aragorn, just days after the coronation, Éowyn recounted how dreams of the Witch King's final shriek still haunted her, until Faramir reminded her that courage can live on beyond fear, lighting a path through any darkness. So here we are. AI is continuing the story of Éowyn and Faramir's marriage. That's something that Tolkien didn't write anything about, Cliff.
And this is a lovely and elaborate April Fool's joke. Well, a very elaborate.
What are you
April
talking
Fool's
about?
joke.
What, no, the April Fool's joke was another post. We'll get to that in a sec.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So,
sure.
so
sure.
you don't think this passage sounds like Tolkien?
No. No, I don't.
Well, we got a quote
This
from
is
Calasuri,
so silly. Oh my god.
the co-founder of the OneRing.net's quoted here.
So
Far
funny.
too often, fans get locked into gatekeeping over what can and can't be done with these stories.
Oh my goodness.
Says Calasuri. We live in an age of creativity and technology. Why not use advanced AI trained on the entire Tolkien corpus to bring hidden narratives to light?
You're
not
just
about
trying to piss me off now.
It's not
And
about
everybody else
replacing
in
the
chat.
original text. Nothing will ever do that. But about enriching them for a new generation of readers.
I tell
How
you
is
what,
that bad, Cliff?
If you want to enrich a generation of readers, get them to read Christopher Tolkien's side notes in Unfinished
They
Tales.
can. We
Oh,
encourage
sure.
that all the time. And even when the AI spits out its new script, it references and links to those things by Christopher Tolkien. Nothing is being replaced, Cliff. There's only addition going on. Why wouldn't you appreciate new stories being told this way?
Do you know what? This April Fool's joke was written for the very
to stop with
reason
the April Fool's joke.
it was-
We're having
it
a
was
discussion
written-
about AI because that Ghibli trailer was as real as it gets.
Okay,
You're treating the Ghibli trailer that we just watched
sure.
with this with intense scrutiny as if it's breaking Tolkien and it's breaking Miyazaki and Tolkien is rolling over in his grave. But here you can't take this. You're not taking this seriously. Like
No,
why?
I'm not taking this seriously at all. Because can you imagine this would be the one taking an advanced AI trained on the entire Tolkien corpus to bring hidden narratives to light? Flies in the face of everything that Tolkien fans love. Oh my God!
How
this is
Tolkien
just the
said
worst.
he wanted other minds and hands.
No.
Telling
No.
more stories. He never wrote about Faramir's marriage to Éowyn.
You might as well get that guy out of jail who got sent to jail for writing a fake sequel to The Lord of the Rings and claimed that he had the rights to do so. You might as well just give him a pardon and let him out of jail and let him write more crap. Come on. There is genius, and then there is the machinery which is trying to give you a pale imitation of somebody else's creative soul. And on which side of that equation do you think most of the fandom is going to fall on? It's an excellent joke, and I do appreciate the lengths to which you are going to reinforce the joke. I appreciate that. It's very funny. Yes.
So
that's
why?
right.
So if you think this is so funny,
Tolkien was a Luddite.
Why weren't you laughing 2 seconds ago when we were talking about this trailer?
Yeah, because what's to laugh about? I mean,
it's great. It's fun. It fulfills a fan dream that we've all wished we could see Lord of the Rings in Miyazaki's style, and here it is. Because we know a movie like this would never happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So
no, I mean, I don't have anything to add about why the Ghibli AI prompt is. I've said enough about that, but it's also true that there's an appetite. There's a very, very big appetite for this style of animation, and it makes me wonder why the War of the Rohirrim didn't do better theatrically, because it was the most recent big anime that we had, but it was not done in the house style of Studio Ghibli, which has been adopted by Studio Panok. They have a bunch of animators who left Studio Ghibli and went to Studio Panok.
I just realized
they made a film called Mary and the Witch's Flower, and other films as well that they're worked on. And
AI made
you know,
made the hobbits walk the wrong way over the bridge. Watch this.
oh, what are their feet going backwards the wrong way?
They're walking to the left when we all know they're walking into Rivendell, not away
Instead of walking
from.
out of Rivendell. Oh, I see. I see. Oh my goodness. And there's no pony there either. There's no build a pony. Well,
We're still
okay.
paying attention to Cinemacon because there were other announcements today, Cliff. That's right. There was a new teaser from Tales of the Shire.
Oh yes, and an
that
interview
game
with
is-
Daniel Falconer.
Daniel
Yeah, there he
Falconer.
is.
There he is, right there.
There's our good friend Daniel Falconer. I was excited to see this earlier today.
For people joining him, they might not know Daniel Falconer. Why are you impressed by seeing him?
Well, Mr. Daniel Falconer was one of the lead artists working on the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, and he was hired decades ago, just a young man working as a great artist. He designed Treebeard. He designed many of the Ents that you see in the Two Towers, and many other pieces of armor and cultural iconography for the dwarves and the elves and the hobbits. And you know, he hasn't aged a day. I'm pretty sure that Daniel Falconer is using a magic ring of some kind.
Yeah.
He is one of the lead artists contributing to the development of this game.
And it's interesting that this video focuses on art. Again, Cliff, we're jumping from AI art into hand-drawn. You can see them drawing on their tablets right here when constructing these 3D worlds.
And AI art is not art. It is not art. It is a flimsy product which is made off of the broken backs and bloody fingers of the real artists who work just like this. These people in this video are working very hard just so we can get that right. Oh my gosh, if Professor Tolkien were alive today, the things that he would say about AI. Oh my gosh, the things that he would say.
I think Professor Tolkien would be an amazing Twitter user. I think he would love short form.
He'd probably be on Blue Sky, however.
Language.
But yeah, the things he would say against the encroachment of the artist by the artificial. Wow. Well, hey, now tell me, how many more production delays do you think that Tales of the Shire is going to have? Have they locked in a new release date later this year in 2025?
I don't think so. They just said it's coming out later this year.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, that gives them more bandwidth to keep going and finish up what they need to finish up. Lord bless them, give them all the time they need to get the game ready to go. I'm really excited for this cool and very cozy game.
All right. Other news this week, Bear McCreary won an Emmy.
He sure did.
That's right. Bear McCreary won an Emmy, not for Lord of the Rings,
Percy Jackson.
but for another fantasy show called Percy Jackson.
Yep. And the Olympians. Yes.
Interesting, though, he is honored to share an Emmy with his incredible creative team at Sparks and Shadow. I am very pleased that Bear McCreary is crediting Sparks and Shadow and his creative team. If you notice, he's not on stage. So the team picked it up on their own. Cliff, you remember the fans had brought up the fact that Bear McCreary early on was just all about him doing all the work. And then it turned out that, he's got this whole creative team, kind of like Hans Zimmer does. Creating all the music for all the projects that he's working on, video games, God of War, TV shows like Percy Jackson and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So Bear McCreary is now an Emmy winner, but unfortunately not for Rings of Power yet.
And his contributions to the Rings of Power are the best, just the best. Great stuff that he's done. And I love the fact that he reintroduced heavy metal back to the world of Tolkien. I love that. That was so cool. And, good on you, Bear McCreary, and your hardworking team of people. So this is interesting.
I'm
that
still looking out for CinemaCon news, but there was
yes,
other news about
but
Warner Brothers this last
let me
week.
ask you before you jump into this next headline, Justin, how much do you think is weighing on James Gunn and the success that Warner Brothers needs the Superman film to be to get out of the trouble that they're in right now? What do you think about that?
I don't think so. Man,
Because
DC
I
is in
do
an
have some thoughts
interesting
about
thing.
this.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Snyder Cut fans are ever going to be happy.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
a whole nother conversation.
they yelled and screamed and wah-wah'd in the little crib with the little dirty diapies about the Snyder Cut for years and years and years. You know, they bought airplanes with banners. They bought billboards around San Diego Comic-Con. They draped an entire building about Snyder Cut at Comic-Con.
Yes,
they finally got the Snyder Cut during pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
They got the Snyder Cut. They got the thing that they wanted.
Yeah, and I watched it.
And it's great, but they're still not happy.
Cool.
And it's 2025, and Snyder Cut fans are still tweeting every single day how Ben Affleck is the best Batman, and bring back the Snyder Cut and restore the Snyderverse and sell Snyder first to Netflix. They're just not happy, and they'll never be happy. And
really,
and
I haven't seen a lot of that.
I feel like that there's that segment of fandom just doesn't want this new James Gunn movie to succeed. And I think it's going to be a disastrous online social conversation. The discourse around this new Superman movie is going to be terrible. That said, I think this might be the greatest Superman since Christopher Reeve. I think that this is it. I think James Gunn understands that Superman means hope. I think James Gunn is inspired by the bright, colorful visuals of Darwin Cook. I believe that he's got the dog in there, the super dog. Lex Luthor looks amazing.
Yes,
I think this might be the greatest Superman that we could hope for, and I think
brought in the Lantern Corps. They brought in the Green Lantern Corps,
but I think most importantly, and I'll let you go right after this point. I think most importantly, Superman represents the best of humanity, and we need that in the marketplace, in the social marketplace of our minds and our conversations.
Yes.
We need that message of just being good is a choice and is the right choice. And that is an important message that needs to go out in the world at this moment in time in 2025. And I think the world is hungry for that message.
I agree. I totally agree. 100%. I don't hear and I don't see a lot of complaining from the Snyderverse fans because of the success of Peacemaker series, which I think is getting a second season, and also the great success of the animated series Creature Commandos, which is the literal soft boot of the new DC universe that James Gunn is in charge of. It's using characters from the Suicide Squad that James Gunn did, and I'm very, very intrigued by his new approach to Superman. And yes, you're right. Thematically, the power of that storytelling is because Superman represents an ideal, and it's a moral ideal. It's not, in my mind, always about the Sturm and Drang. Snyder's approach was like a German opera. It was all about the Sturm and Drang and the darkness of the clouds and the difficulties and the storms and the difficult moral problems that Kal-El had to work out. And it seems that James Gunn's approach is not like a German opera. It's more like this is a brightly colored and broadly drawn adventure, a fun adventure that tells us something about our better selves and our better angels, and things that we do in this world to help or harm other people. And it's through that kind of storytelling that we get to re-examine ourselves. Honestly.
Breaking news from CinemaCon: Nicholas Hoult confirms on stage he was the runner-up for Matt Reeves' The Batman.
No way. You mean runner-up after Pattinson? Robert Pattinson? Wow. Well, after seeing...
he auditioned for Superman.
Oh, wow, he did.
And didn't get Superman. Instead, he got Lex Luthor.
Wow. He got Lex.
Nicholas Hoult going from Tolkien to moody emo Batman would have been incredible.
That would have been. But after seeing Mickey 17 twice and totally falling in love with Robert Pattinson's performance and how much I love Bong Joon-ho as a director, I'm happy that Robert Pattinson was the Caped Crusader. I honestly think that Nicholas Hoult would be a really, really, really good villain. Look at how good he was in Nosferatu recently.
He's just they're both on a roll. Also, we should remind people that Zack Snyder's very first Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say his first DC movie, but he did Watchmen before any of that. But remember the teaser trailer,
Batman versus Superman? Was that his first?
No, teaser trailer for Man of Steel. Frustrated a lot of Lord of the Rings fans because he was the first filmmaker in history to license Howard Shore's Lord of the Rings music for anything other than Lord of the Rings.
He did. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings music has never been optioned for anything ever except for the teaser trailer for Man of Steel.
Otherwise, you're never going to license that music. But Warner Brothers didn't mind. Since that was an in-house job, it was probably a lot easier for Snyder to license that music because it was all in-house under the auspices of Warner Brothers. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't see Renfield. Garth in the chat says that he was wild as Renfield, and I didn't see that. The one with Nicolas Cage, right? I missed out on that. I should have seen it. So the thing is, you did say a lot about how much Superman is valued and the difference between James Gunn, his approach, and the previous approach that the Snyder fans have been making noise about. But my algorithm is not giving me a bunch of noise from Snyder fans. I'm just not seeing it. I'll tell you the truth, though. David Zaslav has mismanaged things in such a grand scale way at Warner Brothers. If it weren't for Denis Villeneuve and James Gunn, then the studio itself would be at great peril financially and would probably get absorbed by Disney, just like Fox got absorbed by Disney. They need a huge, whopping box office smash with this Superman movie. Warner Brothers needs it more than they need anything for the vitality and, dare I say it, for the ongoing, existence of their studio. They need that movie to do very, very well indeed.
Well, speaking of Warner Brothers, there's been news over the last week that the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, is looking to replace Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi as the heads of Warner Studio. This is bad news for Lord of the Rings fans. Mike DeLuca was at New Line Cinema when Peter Jackson brought it over to New Line. Mike DeLuca was part of the team that said yes to Peter Jackson. So he knows how to do it. And when they announced the new movie deal with Peter Jackson coming back with Philippa and Fran, that was because Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi had flown to New Zealand and personally mended the fence And so
Oh, yes.
going back to 1997 between Peter Jackson and Mike DeLuca. And the fact that Warner Brothers is looking to replace Mike and Pam, this is bad news. This is bad news for Lord of the Rings fans and for the future of Lord of the Rings. But maybe it's good news. Maybe he'll just do a clean slate. And who knows if Mike DeLuca leaves Warner Brothers, who knows if Peter Jackson sticks around? We don't.
Oh gosh,
that's what I'm saying. This friendship goes back 25 years.
it sure does. Yes.
And one of the key reasons Peter is back in the biz is because of Mike and Pam. So getting rid of them puts everything we know about Lord of the Rings at risk. Does this mean does this stuff impact the future movies? I mean, they've already pushed Hunt for Gollum to 2027.
Oh gosh, yeah. I see what you're getting at.
So yeah, I'm looking at Cinemacom. I'm seeing tweets that the WB panel might be over without anything from Lord of the Rings.
They didn't mention Andy Serkis or the Hunt for Gollum at the entire CinemaCon presentation.
No, and they didn't mention Andy Serkis's and Matt Reeves' The Batman, and they didn't mention Dune. Wasn't Dune?
Yeah,
Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah, yes, of course. They probably did. They mention the Odyssey that Christopher Nolan is working on.
No,
now?
That's Universal.
Oh, my mistake. Okay. Wow. Well, I do find that interesting that they did not mention, hey, we're in pre-production on the Hunt for Gollum. That's really too bad. That would have been something that now we have to tell our audience, in case they don't know, this is an industry trade show. And when I say industry, I mean theater owners and the people who own all the motion picture theater
all right.
chains.
Yep. We got no news about Lord of the Rings. Cliff, is that a good sign or a bad sign or a neutral sign?
I think it's
Wouldn't you expect
habit.
even a video, like a 30-second video from Peter? Hi guys, we're hard at work, blah blah blah, da da da.
I would have expected a video from Andy, not from Peter, but from Andy. But that would have been cool. But it's another symptom of the studios being overly cautious and playing their cards too close to their chest, as usual. Before we close the show tonight, don't we have a bit of news about what happened to Jennifer Salke over at Amazon Prime Studios?
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that?
How could you forget? I've been waiting this whole time for you to mention the big news. Talk about burying the lead. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, things really shook up over there at Prime Video.
Speaking of Warner Brothers might be losing their heads.
Yes.
Amazon just lost their head. Literally. The head of Prime Video.
The head of Prime Video, Jennifer Salke, has stepped down, and Amazon MGM just tried to finish up a deal with Barbara Broccoli for the 007 James Bond franchise. And then at this very moment, they made an announcement that said, oh, she's now going to go over with a new production shingle, and she's going to have a first look deal with her production company over there. But they did pull her out of the leadership position that she was in. And
to be clear, this is just a total, like, it's not even a reshuffling. She is out, and they're not replacing her. In fact, they're getting rid of the position completely. The head of Prime Video doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
Jennifer Salke.
They said they wanted to reduce the level of leadership levels and have two people only report to him. That's what they said in the trades.
Jennifer Salke was the executive in charge of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Jennifer Salke is the one that approved all of the budgets, which is over $1.5 billion already, and we're barely through season 2.
Correct.
She did make some comments about James Bond in December, where she said she called the Bond franchise content. We're just looking for more Bond content. And
Yep.
the owners
Boy, did that
of
piss off
Bond,
Barbara Broccoli.
the
Woo,
owners of
boy.
Bond did not appreciate Bond being treated as another piece of content.
No, they didn't.
And Jeff Bezos ended up paying $1 billion
More.
to
$1
buy
billion
the rights.
more than the original asking price. Yes.
$1 billion more than the $8 billion that he spent
Yes.
on MGM.
Exactly.
She was
Exactly.
not just middle management. She was not middle management. She was the head of Prime Video. She's the one that wrote the check that greenlit the $1 billion Rings of Power. She's
Correct.
the one that has kept McPain on the show. She's the one that decided to move production from New Zealand to the UK. And it's always been a battle. It's been reported in the press that it's been a battle between Jennifer Salke and the Rings of Power budget and the other executive who got $1 billion for NFL rights.
Right.
So the question is right there on screen, Cliff. Is there a chance that they cancel Rings of Power with this news?
It is. If it wasn't likely before, it might be a possibility now.
I don't agree with you. You're being a Debbie Downer again. You hate
No,
AI.
I'm not.
Come on.
I'm not
They're
being a
not
Debbie Downer.
canceling Rings of Power. Jeff
I didn't
Bezos
say that. I said it
personally
was a
guaranteed
possibility that
5
it wasn't
seasons.
a possibility. All right. It has moved over from the realm of no, not ever going to happen, and now it's over into the realm of tiny possibility. Tiny possibility. Let's consider the underperformance of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Let's go back to Warner Brothers for a second. They had contracted with J.K. Rowling 5 movies. They only made 3. And they canceled the contracts to make any other Fantastic Beasts movies. So you had the first one, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and then you had The Crimes of Grindelwald, and then you had Secrets of Dumbledore, or something like that. And that's it. No more. There was supposed to be a movie 4 and a movie 5. Those motion pictures will not happen now. So if that can happen in this world in 2025, then who knows? Who knows if they decide we're not going to go all the way with 5 seasons. We'll just do 3 and then that's it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want that to happen. I'm not advocating. I'm just saying that it might be a consideration that's different than the way we thought about it before. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
This is big news that Jennifer Salke is out at Amazon. She was our biggest champion, and I'm telling you, Rings of Power, anything Lord of the Rings deserves the biggest budget possible. I
agree.
So a day after Jennifer Salke is out, Amazon already renegotiated Phoebe Waller-Bridger's deal. They've demoted her deal from an overall to a less rich first look deal. And I was explaining this to a couple people today. The difference is they were paying Phoebe Waller-Bridge $20 million a year to make content for Prime Video. And that's an overall deal where they pay all your bills. First look deal means that they do not pay all your bills. They pay a little bit of money, but you give Amazon first crack at taking a show. So if Phoebe creates a show, she has to give Amazon the first look and the first chance to greenlight it. And if they decide they don't want to greenlight it, she can take it to Netflix or NBC or HBO or whatever. So this is a big step down in the Phoebe Waller-Bridger. Speaking of that, Amazon, again, bad news from Amazon. Their Tomb Raider series is not in production. According to
what happened?
new article by Puck, Tomb Raider streaming series has majorly struggled behind the scenes. Prime Video has spent tens of millions of dollars developing the video game and has nothing to show. The series has already gone through 2 writers' rooms and still does not have a finished script.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Let me ask you, Cliff, should Rings of Power have gone through the same level of quality assurance when it comes to
Yes.
writers' rooms?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it weren't for the pandemic, things might have gone differently. But yeah, things on that level for a multi-billion-dollar 5-season extravaganza, it deserves all of the attendant care that you can give it, including a robust writer's room that it has a lot of moving parts.
So
Yes.
they've cycled through 2 writers' rooms and they still don't have approved scripts. So the show isn't even close to being filmed. Would
do you
make
think this
you nervous?
contributed to Jennifer's departure? This thing here,
All
along
of
with
it.
the 007 stuff and the Rings of Power stuff and this Tomb Raider as well. That probably also contributed to Jennifer Salke leaving that position.
And here's a weird coincidence: Tomb Raider
Probably.
is owned by Embracer.
Oh, no kidding. Yes, it is.
Embracer, who owns Middle-earth Enterprises, also
Yes.
owns Tomb Raider. And
That's
Embracer did a licensing deal with Amazon for the TV show Tomb Raider.
I wonder if time is going to run out. I mean, in this developmental hell that's happening for Tomb Raider, I wonder how long before the contractual time is up. I do wonder about that.
So there's a lot of moving parts happening. Jennifer Salke is out at Amazon. She was our biggest champion. I want to thank her for the financial support for Rings of Power, because again, Tolkien deserved the biggest budget in TV history, and that show still deserves the big budget.
Yeah, very much so. Very much it does.
If you need to bring in a new writer's room, you got to get the scripts right. You really do.
Yep. I'll also say that
nothing else is lacking.
There's no going out on a limb by saying that. To quote my past as the writer Quickbeam from the OneRing.net, but it is not scandalous or unreasonable to say what you just said, Justin. You've got to get the scripts right. You have to get the story right.
So let me ask you this, Cliff. Jennifer Salke's out at Amazon. 2 days later, they renegotiated Phoebe Waller-Bridger's deal. A day later, Tomb Raider is on hiatus. They still don't have scripts. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are you prepared? Because according to rumors that we've reported on, Rings of Power is supposed to start filming April 28th this month, April 28th.
Really?
That's no
Season
joke.
3? Where did we get word of principal photography starting this month?
That was on all the casting audition websites that we reported on earlier.
Okay.
So let me ask you this.
That's exciting. Okay.
With all of this news happening behind the scenes, would you expect possibly a new executive reviewing Rings of Power and maybe delaying things? Would that be a good thing in your eye? A bad thing? How should fans prepare for whatever news is coming?
Take every delay as a good sign. Take a look at the third and final Beyond the Spider-Verse film. A big announcement of a delay in that production means good things. It means the animators have more time, the producers and the writers and the voice actors all have more time to get things done and get it done right. Hey, weren't we just talking about Tales of the Shire video game? Hey, they've got another big delay. Oh, is that a problem? No, don't take that as a sign of a problem. That gives the production and the artists making that video game more time that they need. So if there's a significant delay on the hunt for Gollum, or even on Season 3 of The Rings of Power. A delay is not necessarily bad. If you need to recalibrate things, take the time you need to recalibrate and get it done right. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I like your position on this. More work can only mean better work.
Agreed. And that is my argument against AI generating cheap Ghibli images. Hard work, more work is the way. This is the way. This is the way, said the Mandalorian to his little baby Grogu. This is the way. Oh, do you know how excited I am to see Andor putting up giant billboards all over Los Angeles? You can't cross the street in Hollywood without seeing, bam, giant billboards for Andor season 2. I'm so excited. I'm about to fall over. I'm going to fall over.
I want to stress this enough. If Amazon is still watching, if I hope the people that we've worked with at Amazon over these last 3 years aren't on the chopping block either, because they've been wonderful supporters of the One Ring,
of course not.
and of fans.
Of course not.
And we hope your jobs are secure. But if you're watching, Andor is the template. Andor is the amount of seriousness and respect for the audience, and the respect for the characters, and the respect for the storytelling. When we said respect for Tolkien and fidelity to Tolkien, Andor is what we meant.
Well, we said fidelity to Tolkien. There was a whole different toxic crowd that said respect for Tolkien. So let's not confuse those.
Let's not, okay? But Andor is the right vibe for Rings of Power.
Yeah, Andor is the right vibe for Rings of Power. It is,
and it's killing me to say this, because originally I said I wanted Riverdale in Rivendell. I wanted that CW messy dating show. And you know what? I was wrong. It wasn't good.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart for saying that. Oh my goodness. Bless your little heart.
Andor is the path forward. Take it seriously, take it earnestly, and treat every piece of dialogue in the show going forward with honesty and integrity.
Yes, absolutely. And keep it grounded in that universe that we all know so well. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's going to be an interesting year. We're going to have Superman. We're going to have the season 2 and the final, it being the final season of The Sandman on Netflix. We're going to have the Rings of Power going into principal photography. And oh my gosh, James Gunn is relaunching DC in a very, very big way. There's also a new TV show that will appear of Green Lantern. They're very busy right now filming principal photography on the Green Lantern TV series. That's absolutely happening. And thank you, Nigel. Yes, the books. Look at the books. Oh no, who wants to do Shrek 5? And then there's Toy Story 5. Oh lordy. Oh, and here's interesting. Mandalorian and Grogu is being released as a feature film because they don't want to go on and do another weird wobbly season of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. They're going for a theatrical release for that. Oh, and look, there's Fast X Part 2, directed by Louis Leterrier, who actually won an Emmy for doing The Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance on Netflix.
And Andy Weir's Hail Mary. That's being the cinematographer on that is our friend, friend of the show.
Yep.
Greg Fraser.
Greg Fraser. Yes.
You got Masters of the Universe from Amazon Prime Video.
That's going to be a big surprise. Masters of the Universe is going to be produced as a tongue-in-cheek, fun surprise, and they're not going grimdark or anything with it. They're going real fun, bright-colored, wink-wink, like Barbie. The approach that
like the Toxic Avenger.
Oh my God, Toxic Avenger is going to be so funny. I can't wait to see Toxic Avenger.
Well,
I
and
can't wait to see it.
there's your Odyssey teaser, and I have to say this: that
Yeah.
even though this is an official slide from Cinemacon in Vegas, that is the movie poster for the fan film that's available for free on YouTube right now. After the show, go to YouTube.com and search for The Hunt for Gollum, and you can watch a feature film length fan film. It's incredible.
It's really great. It's really
Born
great.
of Hope is the other fan film, but you can watch Hunt for Gollum, and that fan poster is for the fan film that's available for free on YouTube.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So and
I think I've
Garth
got the
is correct.
DVD somewhere. I actually have a DVD of it sitting over there somewhere on my shelf. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
big news all around, Cliff. We want to thank Donato Giancola for joining us today to give us a little insight into his artistic process. I tell you, I could talk to that guy for hours on end.
He was wonderful. Yeah. He is
just a
great.
wonderful conversation. You have 2 more hours. Wait, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 2 more hours to vote in Middle Earth March Madness. The link is on our main website. It's also on all our socials.
Vote.
Go vote. Vote your heart, but vote for Donato. And also,
yes, absolutely. Donato.
Also,
remember,
Green Dragon reminded us that you could win a copy of War of the Rohirrim on Blu-ray or 4K. This is the Steelbook edition that sound designer Mark got today. We are giving away 20 copies of War of the Rohirrim. So
yes.
Go to the wandering.net homepage, and there's an article with all the details on how to enter. We've got a little jot form where you can guess who's going to win the overall competition. And so you got to submit that tonight. Also submit your final 8 voting, and we'll find out tomorrow who goes on to the final 4. What a great long conversation. I'm sorry we didn't get any news for CinemaCon. We really were expecting some, weren't we, Cliff? But
we were expecting a little nibble, but they didn't drop any breadcrumbs on the trail today. So now we'll just have to wait.
But anyway, I hope we gave you fans a lot to chew on. There is a lot of movement in the world of television and movies when it comes to Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of things happening. We don't know how it's going to shake out right now. We're not on edge, but we're confident that whatever happens, we're going to get better stories.
Indeed, we are. Good stuff is happening all around.
From AI.
And no, stop it. No AI. Barf. Where's my barf bucket? I need a barf bucket. Okay. You're so funny. It's now time to say goodnight, everybody, as we sign off on this extra cool edition of Torn Tuesday that we just went through. And again, my hat is off to you, Jim Wirt, and Green Dragon, Kirsten Cairns, and the wonderful Donato Giancola. So good to have you folks with us on this lovely show. We're going to come back to you next Tuesday. That's right. We'll be here live next Tuesday at 5 p.m. to join you all in this great Lord of the Rings community. And we're going to have more mischief and news and Green Dragon gossip. We're going to get all the stuff to you as quickly as we can get it. Make sure you vote. This is the Elite 8. Right now, you have an hour left to vote on our March Madness. And have a great week, everybody. Take good care of yourselves. Have a really wonderful time. You want to follow us on our socials. You can go to theonering.net. That's our main page. But when you're on any social channel, Instagram, find us on our Discord, of course, or on Facebook or YouTube. Look for The One Ring Net. Take out the dot, and you'll find us. Follow, like, and subscribe. Me, personally, I am QuickBeam2000 on Instagram and Blue Sky. And we'll see you guys next week at 5 p.m. for a lot more mischief. And yeah, thank you to the live chat. It really was a great show. We had a wonderful show tonight. And thank you, Justin, for pulling all the strings in that wonderful control room that you're in. My tip of the hat, again, to just so everybody can see my shiny bald head one more time. But I'm just so happy to have had Donato Giancola. He's a great artist. It's great to have him on our show today. So until next week, everybody, good night and good luck. Or better yet, as I like to say, buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye-bye, everybody.